Hi, I'm Sarah Wilder. Thanks for coming back. This is part 35B. I'm right in the middle of talking about kind of an altercation, confrontation between Jim and I. It's the first time ever in our entire married life, 39 years, that we have had verbal altercation where I really had the upper hand and he was afraid. And so this is, I don't know which altar he was in. He definitely switched into another altar because I showed up to the house and I broke everything we agreed on. I broke every rule that we were both supposed to follow. And he just switched into, I want to say like a early teenage type personality. Anyway, so back to where we started. This is the 9 Lives of Sarah Wilder, Surviving the Man I Married. I'm Sarah Wilder, talking about my bad behavior in the middle of September 2022. So I saw the diorama of our kids' wedding pictures. You know, one of them was getting divorced at that moment. He had no idea, didn't even know, hadn't spoken to her in a long, long time. The picture of Jesus was above this setting, this scenery with our kids' pictures. He dredged from the garage, having to go through many boxes to find all these things. Went to a lot of effort to build this artificial bullcrap diorama. But the Jesus picture that he moved just set me over the top. So I'm looking at him. I'm like, one more chance, let me out of this house or call the police or I'm breaking one more thing. And I grabbed this plate. It was a favorite piece of decor of mine. I'd had it for several decades. And when I picked it up, because I knew he was sentimentally attached to it because he gave it to me when we were young and poor, about the same time, honestly, that we bought the life insurance, ironically. So it was a square plate with fall leaves on it, and I grab it and I'm like, your last chance. And he goes, I can't let you go till you give me that briefcase. So I put the drink down. I still had the bag, and now I had this plate, and he would not let me out of the house. And he goes, don't break it, don't break it. That's special. Please, that's special. I flip it over and it says made in China. I said, look, just like our marriage, just like everything about you, it's cheap and fake. I smashed it. There it goes. The third victim to my now out of control rage. And um, he still had that front door blocked. So the whole time I'm standing with my back to the front door, grabbing these things, he's got his arms outstretched. So now I look at him and I turn to him and he does the block. He will not let me anywhere near either door. So I said, that's it. That's it. Jesus is going down. I reach up above my head and I have to reach above my head, tiptoe. I've got this bag and he's trying to block my arm. And you don't want to touch me right now. You don't want to touch me. And he goes like this, but he's still got his arms out. He's not going to let me leave. So I grab the Jesus picture. I run to the back door. I get there before him. I fling it open. I think at this point he's kind of scared. I fling that back door open. I look out. It is black as ink and a deluge. I mean, just a filthy, heavy downpour deluge rainstorm. I step out on the back deck, and this is almost one story up. It's probably 8 or 9 feet up from the cement below, and it's very steep. So I'm not going down. But what I am doing is taking that picture of the Savior in 2 hands, and I just fling it. And it's a big picture, and it's kind of heavy. I fling it perfectly level, like a frisbee, with everything I have. I fling it, and it spins, and it spins, and it spins, and then it stops in midair and drops straight down to the ground. And it just shatters. And as all the glass goes straight up in the air, I could see the Savior's face really clearly because rain is quickly filling the frame, covering him with water. The glass just goes out in like a mushroom cloud. It's just horrible and perfect all at once. I turn around, I march through the house, I get to the front door, I fling the front door open, and he comes from my right and he passes me. He gets out the door, runs down the steps, and I'm going down the steps. I'm running after him. I'm going to my car. We're on a cul-de-sac. The car's parked facing the house on the curb, and I'm down the walkway, and he gets in the car and sits on the passenger side and is in the car. And I get to my car and I'm shaking my head. I'm motioning to get out of my car, and he won't. So I open the driver's side and I said, get the out of my car now. And he goes, get inside the car. Let's finish this now. And I'm like, I'm not stupid. I was already stupid enough, but I'm not fully stupid. So I don't get in the car. I slam the door shut. Help, he's hitting me. Help. I'm screaming as loud as I can. Help somebody. He's hitting me. He's hitting me. I I look in the car. He flings that door open. He slams the passenger door shut. The minute he is out of the car and he shuts it, I grab my door. I jump in the car, slam it, and I hit lock. I hit lock as fast as I can. And he slams his hands down on my hood and just does that. And he runs in the house. Oh my God, my hands were shaking. My hands were shaking so bad. So I drive to Salt Lake. I'm talking to Rachel the whole way there. And when I get there, I go up to her apartment and we call Wendy in California. We get her on FaceTime, and the three of us are talking. And they agree I need to call the police. So um, Rachel stays on her phone on FaceTime with Wendy in California. And I use my phone to call the police. And I spoke to a very nice, surprising, maybe because it was the night shift, I swear, American Fork PD, very nice officer, very polite, soft spoken, patient, good listener, told me, you know what, he was glad to hear me talk about this and call him because he was going to call me the next day because Jim had already made a police report. He had been to the townhome and he had taken pictures and he had documented everything. So he said, you know what, your story matches everything your husband said, except for one thing. And what do you ladies think the one thing was that my husband left out of his version of the whole altercation? Yep, he left out the part where he blocked all the doors. He blocked all the doors. He left it out. I said, listen, I wouldn't have broken my own belongings. I wouldn't have gone ape crap if it weren't for that. But I said, you need to know I told him how little I was, how big he was. And I said, do you even know he was a cop for 27 years? I said, he could have done real damage to me. I was scared. Then I was scared and enraged. Then I was just flat out survival enraged. I said, I went through all these things, and the cop kept wanting me to decide if I was angry or scared. And I kept trying to explain to him, and so was Rachel next to me, that I'm both, and that women victims of DV are both. We can be both. We can also be other things at the same time. So I left a report, yada, yada. That was mid September, October, November, December, January. 4.5 months later, I got a notice in the mail. The city attorney for American Fork was charging me with misdemeanor, criminal mischief, and domestic violence because I broke things in the presence of a domestic partner. And I asked why I didn't get the same treatment, and that they charged him with false imprisonment, intimidation, threatening me, and things like that, trying to keep me a prisoner. And he said, no, we can't do that because you didn't exit the home when you had the back door open. So I learned my lesson. Those stories, the rest of that is down the road, but where we are now is the middle of September 2022. Okay, so that marks the very first police report with American Fork PD for 2022. The second police report would be when I report him to the domestic violence police investigator in 3 weeks from the date of this altercation. However, it's important to note that the previous 468 months I spent with Jim, there were 0 police reports, 0. So I'm going to go ahead and stop here. We'll hook back up for 35C. Thank you for being here.